Hello and welcome back to my channel. Over this past Easter weekend, we had the second round of the Harry Tournament, an event which involves the three prolific case writers named Harry, all writing challenging cases for the community to solve. We have been divided into three teams, and I'm fortunate that my team not only won this second round's competition, but we have taken the lead in the overall competition. I'm so excited about that. Now, I will note that this is the second case in the competition. I'm still working on solving that first case, but it was a challenge. If you're watching this video before May 2026, you still have a chance to sign up for the third round. If you want to sign up and join, take a look in the description. You can see a link where you can sign up to partake in the third and final round of the competition. But this case by Harry Seiders is themed on camping. And there are several questions to take a look at. We got to look at campers' preferences, camp choices, camping items, a map to the airport, and so on. So let's come along with me and I try to do a complete solve of this case. Let's see how much time we have. And here we go. Level 1, the great outdoors. What is the most important aspect of camping for these campers? Please refer to the camper preferences tab, which is over here where they have rated each of the 9 attributes on a scale of 1 to 10. Each camper only has one preference that rates 10. That preference is the most important aspect of camping to them. So let me just take a look here. X match 10 in this. Okay, so we see, oh, they do all have 10s. Very good. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and index the headers and use that as the index number there. So that will show which campsite attributes each of the campers prefer. So now I can just simply XLOOK up these camper names in this list here and return the corresponding most preferred attribute there. There we go. Level 2, determine a camp score based on the camper in the given park. The camp score is determined by multiplying the camper's preferences by the park's attributes in the camp choices tab and then summing those results. Alright, so we're using these same camper preferences right there, and we're going to take a look at camp choices, which is right here. Now, when I solved this case, the first thing that I wanted to do is I want to make sure that these headers are in the same order. So what I did was I did it quickly. Does this all equal this? And in this case, I was lucky enough that it did. So that's going to make my formulas a lot easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 XLOOKUPs. I'm going to multiply the results together. Let's do the camper first. So we're going to XLOOKUP Alfred into this list once again and return his scores for all of these preferences there. And then we are going to multiply that, doing the same thing now for the campsite. So that's going to be G83. And we're going to look it up in these camp choices here and return the corresponding values for all of those there. So what I'm going to get is I am going to get, how many numbers is that? 10? 9 values there in total. So now what I just need to do for this level is we just need to sum them all up together. And this should hopefully equal the answer for the level, in which it does. So let's go ahead and copy this down. Now I'm going to just, whoops, I did one too many there. Let's just check. So with game number hit, name 11, the answer is odd. Number 12, the answer is odd. And number 3, the answer is even. So we are all good there. Level 3. Bob was a Cub Scout, so we know to always be prepared. Of the options given, determine which item has the highest value using the value scores listed on the Camping Items tab. That is this tab right here. Now, all of these items are listed in a singular list like that, which is going to make it a bit hard to look up. And so what I'm going to do first is, I don't know why this column is longer. That's interesting. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap all of these items in a nice table. So there are 5 rows for each item. So let's go ahead and wrap all of this information into that's not going to be easy. We'll just have to scroll all the way down there, rows of 5. So there we have all of the items. Let me go ahead and change that. And this is just a blank line, so we don't need to worry about that one so much. So let me go ahead and copy and paste. Let me just delete this. And let's go ahead and turn this into a proper table. So every column, there's a certain formatting to it, right? For example, this one, there's a number, dot, and a space, and then the item name. So what I'm going to do for this column is I'm going to just get all the information after the dot and the space there. So that'll give me the name of the items. Let's add a new row. Just do it in this one cell. And call this item name. There we go. Second one, we have a value score. So we have the colon and the space there. So once again, I'm going to do value score text after the colon and the space. Now, the one thing is I want to turn this into a number, so I'm going to multiply all of these by 1. That gives us value score. We're going to do the same thing for the cost here. So text after, I think I could just do the $sign for this one. Times 1. So there we go. We got all the costs. Excellent. And then we're going to get the place. So text after the colon. Whoops. That was what, 27, I think? Yeah. The colon and the space there. Very good. So this is going to be the new table that we are going to reference as we do this level. So the question was, which of these items has the highest value? Right. So we see we have 3 items here. They're all separated by this slash. So to split them up, I'm going to go ahead and do text split this cell based on that same slash. So let's do it in rows so it's easier to see. So we have 3 items and 3 rows there. I can then go ahead and XLOOKUP those items into the first column in this table and return the corresponding, what was the value score, right? Yeah, so let's go ahead and turn the value score there. So there we have the 3 value scores, and then I'm going to, let's turn this into a let statement. So this right here are the items. So let's go ahead and let items be that, scores be, we're going to replace that now with items. There we go. And let's just take a look. Do we now have 2 separate arrays? Let's see. Items. Yep. Scores. Yep. And then now what we can do is to determine which item has the highest score, we can use a nice sort by function. So sort by items by the array of scores, going largest to smallest order there. Right, this is scores, not score. That's why I had a name error. So now I can take this and go ahead and put it into this cell here. And there you go. That's how we solve level 3. Lots of bear repellents and sleeping bags. Interesting. Level 4, determine the total cost for the items listed. So this is pretty much the same, except instead of sorting, we just need to add the total costs together. So let's go ahead and let's use the same form. So let items be text splitting this based on the slash again. Cost is going to be XLOOKUP the items once again into this array, return the corresponding value in this column. Let's just take a look at costs right there. There we go. And then we just need to simply sum the costs together. And that's how we get our answer. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting this in. Now, when you're doing the case live, you don't get these error bubbles. So I didn't notice it, but I did catch that there was an error on this game right here. And this one was the one that caught a lot of people up. And let me show you what happened here. So I'm going to go ahead and paste this out here. The output is going to be the sum of the cost. But before I look at the sum of costs, let's take a look at the items. Now, you see here, let's put this into rows again so it's easier to see. There are 4 items in this one where the rest had 3. If I turn this into costs, we see these middle ones don't come up with a cost. And that's because the middle item actually has a slash in the middle there. If I go to the camping items list, we can see there's a slash in the middle right there. So when you have the same slash delimiting the items, but also within the item, that's going to turn into a problem for the lookup. So what I'm going to do for this is, this item here. So what I'm going to do is in my case file, I'm going to replace this. Instead of lighter / waterproof materials, I'm going to put lighter and waterproof materials. Let's go ahead and replace it in the entire workbook. So I made 3 replacements, 1, 2, and 3 there. Now you see when I made those replacements, that then turned all of these into numbers. The sum there now works. So that is the one catch in this case. Quite a few people, including Tim himself, missed that one when they were solving the case. So that's why if you look at the answer sheet, you'll see some people had 7 points less. Level 5, getting away from it all. Everyone must travel to the airport. Cell AX10 in the Map to Airport tab. That is this tab right here. Determine the shortest distance each person must travel to get to the airport. Each cell traveled counts as 1 unit of distance. They must stay on the road and are only allowed to travel in the directions listed in the cell. So here what we have is we have a typical map case where you have these arrows determining where you can or cannot go. Now what I'm going to do, what I did in the actual solve here was first, I don't like the fact that these are against the edge of the sheet. That makes me very nervous because when you use these kinds of formulas, you're going to start to get errors. So what I want to do is I want to get this off of the edge. And to do that, I'm going to first label all the cells in their present position. So first, let's do row numbers first, because that one's going to be easier, right? Because they're just numbers. That's how you get the row numbers. The columns are a little bit trickier. And to do this, I'm going to use a let statement. So let A be the address of, let's see, row number 1, current column number, and 4. So in this first cell, I'm going to get a result of, bring A back out, I'm going to get A1. I only want the A part of it, so I'm going to go ahead and left A from the length of A minus 1. And the reason I'm doing that instead of just printing out all the letters is here we're going to get into double letters, which is going to make it trickier. Right, so we get A, and if I go ahead out to the end, I think that's the end, yeah, AX10 right there. That's going to bring out all of the letters for all of the columns. Now that I have that, let me copy and paste, let me go ahead and lock that in, and let me just go ahead and insert a column and a row at the top. So now I have empty rows on the side, so that should not bring out my errors. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a circular reference on the map. So to do that circular reference, what I'm going to do is first let me bring out the game number. And we are on level, which level is it? 5, right. So this is going to be example 5. From example 5, we are going to pull out the starting location. So start. The starting location here is going to be AM9. Now the next thing I want to add before I do my references is I always like to put a kill switch in. That way, in case something goes wrong with my map, the errors will stop propagating and I can just reset it without having to redo all the formulas. Now, after I've done all that, let's go ahead and make a copy of this map first. Let's bring the copy down there. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that be my reference, and I'm going to let this then be the distance to the airplane there. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to do, well, actually first let's highlight all the cells I'm going to do this in. So I'm going to find cells with this formatting. And I just realized that I'm going to get all the cells on the sheet, including those down there. I don't want those, so instead let me highlight this first. Let me just do the same thing. Find all. Right. Oh no, what? Oh, I didn't. Okay, try this one more time. Find all here, because I don't want to highlight that bottom table. I only want to highlight the top. No, it's still doing it with the bottom as well. What if can that work? Can that work? Okay, that's what I did. I only want the top ones because I want to keep the bottom as my reference. I don't want to mess with those. Right, so I'm currently in cell B26, so I'm going to remember that, but I have all of these cells highlighted, and that's going to be very important. So first off, let me put this nice long statement. So if my kill switch is activated, which is this right here, turn everything to 0. Very easy, very simple. Now, if I'm at my starting cell, I want that starting cell to be the 0 as well. Let me just lock this here. So if this equals the column reference, which is this cell right here, I'm only going to lock the row, so it stays down there. And the row reference, since I'm in B26, I'm going to click that cell right there, keep that column reference there. So in this case, if it is that starting cell, I want that to be 0. Otherwise, just for now, I'm going to put it as 1, just so you can see what it looks like. So I do that here. Every cell is going to be 1 except AM9, which is right there. I know it's in the AN10 spot, but that's because I added an extra row and an extra column. That's exactly what I want. Now let's fill in this cell. Now this is where it's going to get fun. So this is going to be depending on the arrow, because I'm in this cell. That's going to correspond to that cell right there. There are 4 possible arrows. So let's see. So let's do if is number search the down arrow, which is in that cell, and I want to find it within that cell. Let's go ahead and hard code that. So that means that is a valid place to come from. Let's go ahead and start here. And actually, this is going to go in a min statement. You're going to see why that's going to happen there in a moment. This should go on the outside. All right, close the if number. There we go. That closed the entire if statement. That's not what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. Right. Now, if that does not bring down arrow, because I'm looking for the minimum, I'm going to put an arbitrarily large number. So this will give me 9 times 10 to the 9th. That way, that won't include that into my calculation. We're going to do the same thing for all the 4 directions. So if is number search, let's go with the left arrow. So that's this arrow here. Let's go ahead and lock that into the cell to the left of where we are. So if there is a left arrow in there, then we'll include the number from this cell. Otherwise, once again, arbitrarily large number. Right, and then let's go ahead and do that 2 more times, looking up and down. So we'll just copy this, and we'll put it into there. So this is going to be the up arrow, which I can see one right here. And if that up arrow is in the cell below me, we'll count that. And this is going to be the right arrow, which I see one right there. If that is in the cell to the right of me, then we are going to count this. All right. So we should be able to take the minimum of all of those numbers, and we want to add 1 because we're adding 1 to the distance. Now this is going to work because eventually the cells are going to end up here, which is going to be a 0. That's not going to change that formula there. So we close the if, we close the mint statement. We should close the if statement to find that. We're going to close the if statement for the kill switch. And then we go ahead and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold control and press enter. So that's going to apply to all the cells that I've highlighted. Now it's going to highlight that I've got circular references. I haven't turned iterative calculations on, so this is not going to work yet. Let me go ahead and turn these on. Options, iterative calculations. There we go. Now, one other interesting thing that you're probably seeing is I have a lot of these 9 times 10 to the whatever power. That's because I can't get into those cells. Again, that's fine because as long as I have a distance from here to the airport at the end, that's what I want. I'm going to set my columns over to 2 so it's easier to see. So we see we can go to the left, to the down, and then all the way to the right. And the airport is just going to be this plus 1 there. All right, so the answer to this level is going to be 14 for the example. Let me go ahead and run the data table to include all of these other ones here. Oops, Alt-DT. We'll use this for the game number. That's going to run the data table. Ooh, let me try that again. Alt-DT, put it in the column input cell there. There we go. That will give me all the way distances from those respective starting cells. Excellent. Level 6. Finally, some peace and quiet. Everyone has arrived at the camp and is doing their favorite activity based on the preference with a score of 10. Each activity requires different items. Return to the Level 6 Activities tab. Count the total amount of items each camper will need for their activity. Right, so let's go ahead and first let's find out what their favorite activity is. And once again, we already calculated that earlier on this cell. Let's bring out this column right there. There we go. And then from this, we're going to look at what they need for the activity. And that's all of these listed here. So we're going to put that into another XLOOKUP. XLOOKUP that favorite activity from this first column and return the items that are needed. Now this time, he's only got 1 item, which is fine. But if I go down here, they've got a lot more and they're separated by a semicolon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to text split all of this using a semicolon as the row delimiter. And then we see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items, which is equal to the number of rows that this formula spits out. So I'm going to wrap this into a rows function. We put this up here. We're going to get 1 row for that, which is perfectly fine. And that is going to answer, really? Oh, I've got 2 equal signs as a start. There we go. Whoops. There we go. And that's how you solve level 6. Pretty easy. Level 7, it's Panda-monium. While everyone was out enjoying their activities, they all happened to run into a bear. Let the battles begin. The campers will use their items from level 6 to defend themselves. Each type of bear has its own strength, known as bear power. Unhide the bear fighting rule tab to find all of the rules. How many health points will each camper have remaining after their bear encounter? Right, so let's go ahead and unhide the bear fighting rules tab, which we get right here. And then we have all the rules for the bear fights. Right. So let's go ahead and do the same thing as I did before. I'm going to run this through a data table. So let's go ahead and do game example 7. From example 7, what do we pull out? We pull out the camper and the type of bear. All right, so camper, type of bear, and let's do x lookup this in column B, return columns G and H. I believe that should have all the information. Yep. So the camper is Bob, the type of bear is Kodiak, and then from Bob we need to figure out, what do we need to figure out? There's a couple of rules here. We need to figure out, oh, the items from level 6. Right. So, do we need to do that formula again? I think, well, let me see here. If I take this formula, yeah, I think I just need to replace that cell if I do that and just do a few small changes. Let me see here. So, items, we use this formula again, replace this cell with the name right there, and then instead of counting the number of rows, let's just leave it split up like that. Okay, there we go. So we have the items that Bob can use. Very good. So let's do starting HP, which if I go back to the instructions, to level 7, I believe it says somewhere in here. I don't know. I think it said somewhere in here that everyone starts with 1. Oh yeah, each camper starts with 100. All right, okay. Whoops, not 10, 100. And then ending HP is going to depend on a number of factors. So first thing it's going to depend on is the HP bonuses, and that depends on the items that he has, right? So to do that, we're going to take that times X match, or is number, X match these items into this item list there. Let's go ahead and lock that. Now what that does is that's saying if the item shows up in that list, then we're going to include that bonus. If not, then it's going to be 0. So you see we don't have any of these items, so it's going to leave it 0. That also reminds me that this list could grow or shrink, so I'm going to move these over here to the right so it doesn't affect whether that grows or shrinks or not. Defensive bonus, once again, depends on the items. So actually, let me do this so that I can copy and paste it much easier. Yeah, I can paste that in there. Very good. And then bear motivation, I guess, once again, is going off that list of items. There we go. So, oops. Oh, wait a second. We need to match this into that list. No wonder they're all coming out as 0. No sunscreen, no raincoat, no hat. Okay, we're good there. Let's do the same thing down here. Okay, we do have bear repellent. Okay, so now the numbers are coming out. We'll put the same thing here. So we have bear repellent once again. We also have snacks and balls to chrono. Okay, now the numbers are checking out. So now let's go ahead and do the formula. So the formula is starting HP times, in parentheses, 1 plus the sum of the HP bonuses. HP bonuses are here. There are no bonuses there. That's fine. 3 closing parentheses, fine, minus the bear power. Oh, right, we got to get the bear power. So we're going to X look up the bear name from this list and return the corresponding power there. Bear power times 1 plus the sum of the bear motivation, which is down here, minus the sum of the defensive bonuses, which are these bonuses down here. 3 closing brackets to then finish that off. We see the ending HP is 45.44. I do believe that we need to round. Yes, round your final answer to the nearest integer. So let's go ahead and round that to 0 decimal places. Ending HP is 45. Very good. So that matches the example, I believe. Yes, it does. Let's go ahead and run this for the rest of this sheet. And I know my screen is going to give green check marks, but once again, I'm going to check odd, odd, even, odd, odd, even. Yes, we are good. So there's how to solve the 7 levels. Let's go ahead and take a look at how to solve the bonuses. Bonus 1. Which of the 9 attributes listed in the Camper Preferences tab has the highest average score across all campers? So let's go ahead and take a look here, and we're looking at these 9 scores. So let's go ahead and do a by call, average with that. So we'll get the average score for all of them. And then to find out which one has the highest score, I'm going to use my favorite sort by function. So we're going to sort these by their average scores in negative order. So we see Picnics has the highest average score. Go away. Go away. Which camp choice, bonus 2, which camp choice is the favorite for most of the campers given their camper preferences? Camp choice. All right, so we need to figure out this camp choice here. That's using the formula that we had from bonus 2 down there. So let's see. Favorite activity, camp choice. All right, so to do that, we are going to multiply the numbers here for this camper by all of the numbers there. And that's going to give us an array of answers. Like that. I'm going to go ahead and by row sum that array of answers. So that gives me the scores for all of the camps. And then once again, I'm going to do, let me go ahead and lock this because I'm going to paste that down. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a nice little sort by. So we are going to sort the camp names by that list of scores, once again going in negative order there. So I paste that across and I see that just about everyone enjoys Bear Island. Nice little joke in there from Harry. Bonus 3, which camper had a different camp choice than all of the others? That is the one here that preferred Glacier National Park. Let's go ahead and put Kevin in for that answer. Bonus 4, if you purchased one of each item listed on the camping items tab, what would the total cost be? Let's go ahead and sum the cost of all the items in the camping cost tab right there, 2,267. And finally, bonus 5, what is the average rounded to the nearest integer of the level 5 answers excluding the example? All right, so let's go ahead and round the average of all of the level 5 answers. This is level 5 here to 0 decimal places. We get the average of, that is not correct. Did I do the right level? No, I looked at level 2, points 5. Way to go, Ben. Way to go. We need to go to level 5, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. This one. Now I get the correct answer of 42, which is the answer to life and everything. I actually forgot the quote. But there you go. That is how you solve this case. A really fun case. Fortunately, not as difficult as the first one. So Harry Seiders, thank you for that. When I did the first case, I was thinking, oh no, all the case authors are going to go crazy and evil with these cases. But this one was fortunately solvable. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a bit about Excel. I hope you enjoyed what we did here. If you did, please be sure to give me a like and a subscribe. Take a look at my channel because I will be doing lots of esports cases throughout the year. I look forward to seeing you then for the next one.
It's the Excel world.